Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be learning about Greentopian history. As all of you previously voted on my last poll, and we're going to finish and start out with all of Greentopian's history from the origins to over the years and the events that lead to Greentopia of what it is today. So stay tuned also for announcements and updates on the channel. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be discussing the origin of the country, who was the leader, and what happened over the years. So here we go. Greentopia was the first green country in the plastic world, and this was the old country of Greenland. The country of Greentopia was founded by William Give in 2008. Give was also the first president of the country and still is today. Greentopia sent some of their missionaries to find territory for their economy, since most of the supply they had was a minimum amount to trade with the other nations. Greentopia, along with the other countries, were part of the invasion of Letopia during the year of 2010 through 11. Greentopia would also have a colony for the economy by the name of Greenland, which was run by Give's favorite general, General Moss. Okay, guys, so before we continue to the events over the years. So, as we know, or probably most of you know, the invasion of Letopia began on 2010 with three nations, Tasmania, Greentopia, and Blutopia, along with Grayton, because Grayton was an empire before, but they have lost their empire, and these four have conquered the country of Letopia. And as we all hear, Letopia was occupied by these four nations. They were immediately put into some labor camps because they didn't want to negotiate with them because they were afraid they were too hostile or probably would not gain a chance. But then the Letopians started to riot against the army nations and decided that, you know what, instead of doing a war, how about we make a deal? So the leader of Letopia, President Wilson, makes a deal with all the army nations, saying that they could have a piece of his territory as long as they leave some for him and free his people. The treaty was accepted, all of his people were let go, and everyone had a piece of territory to occupy in the new country, which is known as Plastopia. But Letopia was a country before it was invaded, and now since the other nations had conquered the country, it's called Plastopia. Also, if you guys want to learn about Letopian history, I'll probably make a suggestion of that on my next poll. Now, excuse me, guys, my throat is a little dry. Excuse me. Let's continue with the events. Alright, guys, we have made it to the events. So, we're going to go with the events that happened over the years after the invasion of Letopia, and then leading up to modern day history. So let's go. Greentopia over the years, part 1. During the Green and Tan War, Greentopia didn't take part of the combat, but would support Moss economically during the war. Since Moss was in charge of their colony, and President Give trusted Moss to defend their colony from the Tanarians, aka Tasmania's colony, from invading them. After the war was won, Moss and Give were celebrating their victory and still remained allies in peace. Over the years, Greentopia was isolated from other conflicts until November 13, 2020, when Give's favorite general murdered one of his own, aka there was a conference meeting between General Grenzleton and General Moss. Grenzleton came to Moss to discuss new rules and terms for Moss, since they were still under their rule. Moss didn't like the rules and the opposition they were giving, so he shot General Grenzleton. And Greenland was first. In Greenland history, this was actually the first account that Greenland ever started a war. And when Greentopia, aka President Give, heard about what happened, he declared war on Greenland, and this would soon become the Great Army Men Civil War, one of many civil wars. Greentopia declared war on Moss, like I said, because of his treason to the nation and the murder of Grenzleton. Greentopia didn't win the war because his allies, Tasmania and Blutopia, and Tyrannia tried to invade Plastopia, but the Plastopians had a large number of masses because they united together and fought against them, which resulted them in losing their invasion plan of Plastopia, and Greentopia Greentopia and the Tongan nations surrendered and granted Greenland their independence. Even though Give didn't approve of Moss's actions, he still let them have their independence and would later forgive Moss for his actions. Greentopia over the years, part 2. Greentopia was the head associate of the AMIPR Council during the negotiation war. It was not involved in combat. AMIPR means Armed International Peace Recommendation. This was like the first League of Nations, if you will, if compared to real life. And he was the main head representative to issue the fates of 3 different nations that were discovered in Tenyo. And we're going to get into that. Well, if you want learn more about the war itself, then I'll also add that to my suggestion on the poll. So let's continue. During the negotiation war, and was not involved in combat. During the Latopian invasion campaign, they were allies with the Armyman nations and support their allies with armor support. And basically, they were on the Armyman side of the Latopian invasion. The Latopians were trying to invade all the Armyman countries and gain territory and power because someone was very greedy on power. But like Greentopia and the other Armyman nations, they fought together to fight the threat and resulted them in victory. Then they were isolated during the war between the Galactic forces and the Plastopian countries because they didn't want to get involved because it was only their fight and they didn't see no issue if they joined the fight and there's nothing worth value to them. But during the second Galactic invasion, Galactic forces invasion, they were invading their country and they were holding defensive against Galactic forces during the second invasion, which resulted with them having a successful victory along with the help of their allies from Plastopia as well. Greentopia became an ally with Tyrannia during the Second World War Plastic, but he was also a secret ally to the other nations. Later in the war, Greentopia betrayed Tyrannia and helped the allies win the war. And this was during the Second World War Plastic. And World War Plastic was when Tyrannia wanted to expand, or the leader of Tyrannia, Sariktok, wanted to expand its power of communism throughout the whole world. And Greentopia was secretly, even though he was part of Tyrannia's alliance, he was actually not with the whole idea of communism. So he went against him and decided to give allies info on Sarik's attacks, therefore resulting in concluding Sarik's death and the end of communism spreading around the world. I'm so sorry, guys. I don't know what's happening with my throat. I probably talked too much earlier, and my throat's a little dry. It sounds weird, but to me it sounds weird, but it may sound normal to y'all. But I'm going to continue. Greentopia became The first time that Greentopia started a war was during the Alliance Wars. Greentopia was low on resources and decided to invade the country of Red Hot because they had some rich resources for them to trade. Greentopia almost wiped out the whole country and later resulted Greentopia to make a deal with Red Hot to pay for the damage they caused in order to gain some financial benefit instead of trying to conquer the whole country and wipe out the nation and everything. Greentopia over the years, part 3, and the final part. During the Heat War, Greentopia was an ally for the Democratic side of Kandahar because Kandahar during this time period had a civil war. And the civil war was between the Communist and Democratic Party. The Communists want the country to be communist, while the Democrats want to be democratic, and both sides had support from their allies. The Communists had support from Tasmania and Tyrannia, while the Democratic side had support from Greentopia and Greenland. And it resulted with the Democratic side winning and making the country of Kandahar fully democratic. And it still is today. Anyway, and after the war, they returned home victorious and believed that their help won the war, which it was. It did. Greentopia went neutral after the Heat War was over and wouldn't be involved in another war until the Equality War, which resulted in them being conquered by the enemy forces and liberated when the war was over. They were once again dealing with the same situation during the communist invasion, but Greentopia was once again invaded, and since that war, Greentopia remained to be isolated from other conflicts until they are needed for necessary. And also, guys, if you're wondering who they're allies with, Greentopia is allies with Greenland and Basaja, and basically Greentopia is part of the Basajan Empire, and Basaja is aka United Kingdom in my Armament universe. So they have been good friends and allies and have equal opportunity and power amongst themselves. So they have been doing pretty well. And Greentopia, as I said before, is still remaining neutral. And stay tuned, guys, because I'm about to announce some things after a short break, and my dog is about needs to go, so I'll post the announcements after when I'm done letting her out. Guys, so we have reached to the conclusion of today's video, and thanks to you guys for supporting and giving my channel all the love it deserves. And as I've seen on my recent posts, some of you guys want me to react to history videos, and I'm going to be making a post and a poll asking which history video I should watch and which country should I do after when I'm finished with this, after when this video was posted. And a lot of you guys have actually wanted me to react to history videos, and I could ask you guys to post any history videos that I have never seen before, or I have never watched, because there's actually a ton of channels that I have seen and watched, such as Oversimplified, Armchair Historian. This is not a shout out, I'm just saying. The Great War channel discusses everything behind every war and other things. I can also learn about anything about other countries like Japan, China, Russia, Italy, any country. I will post it and you guys can vote on it. And like I said, and I always said before, any suggestion that has the most votes will be the new topic for my channel. And I just want to say thank you guys so much. I am 3 subscribers away to getting 60, and once I reach 60, I'll do a celebration video, and then more content, and everything you ever wished for will be shown. Not to mention, guys, I have also finished with my Morlantian history, so if you also want to learn about Morlantian history, aka Armament China, then I can give you a brief history on everything if you want me to do that. But like I said, it depends on what I post on the poll, and whatever you guys vote on the poll, that will be the new channel and the new topic. I'll see you guys tomorrow, or basically whenever. I'm checking the post tomorrow, and if I get a lot of views or a lot of votes on my video or my post, or votes on my post, then that will be the new topic of the video, and I'll do it. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and more content and more history, more lessons will be taught. I'll see you guys next time. Good luck.